My question is about China. While both the US and Chinese leaders are trying to have a summit meeting in the near future, the Russian and Chinese navies carried out joint exercises in the Sea of Japan, including anti-submarine drills. And China continues to purchase Russian oil. So how are you concerned of the China's move that might help Russia? And I have a brief follow-up.
Well, for the specifics, let me take that back and see if we can get further details for you on that. What I can say, though, is we've been clear about how the United States views itself as a Pacific nation. We are a Pacific nation. We've seen the highest levels of engagement with our allies and partners across the region. The fact that we stand with our allies and partners across the region, both the Secretary, of course, going to the region, but other high-level delegations from this department over just the last few weeks. So we've seen that engagement, we've seen that commitment here, and that engagement will continue.
And it's been reported that Indian Prime Minister Modi is set to visit China for the first time in 7 years. And Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has criticized the US tariffs imposed on countries including Brazil and India. So are you concerned that China and other BRICS countries are trying to take the lead in organizing a kind of pushback against US trade measures?
Well, what I can say in terms of India is the president has been very clear in terms of the concerns he has regarding the trade imbalance, regarding the concerns he has when it comes to the purchase of Russian oil. You've seen him take action directly on that, and I refer you to the president's comments for that. India is a strategic partner with whom we engage in a full and frank dialogue. That'll continue. The Secretary also spoke to that. Like anything in foreign policy, you're not going to align 100% of the time on everything. But it is very clear, the president's been clear, the concerns that he has with the trade imbalance, the concerns he has with India purchasing Russian oil. He's been clear on that. He's taken action, and I refer you to his comments for further on that.
I wanted to follow up on my colleague's question about India, because I understand we've certainly heard, as you mentioned, the president's frustration and upset about India purchasing Russian oil, but we've seen a longer-term tension, it seems, rising in U.S.-India relationship. We saw Indian officials back in May who were upset about the president talking publicly about a role in having brokered a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. We saw the meeting with the Prime Minister of India that was supposed to take place at the G7 in June canceled because the president had to leave early to return to Washington, and now this tension over tariffs. Is there a concern from this department or the secretary about an overall worsening in the relationship with India and the potential for India to be turning more to China and away from the U.S. at a time when the U.S. looks to India, has been looking for many years to India as a partner?
Well, what this is about is an honest, full, and frank dialogue about real concerns that this administration has, that the president has outlined very clearly, addressing those concerns through his actions. He's spoken about them, whether it's about the purchase of Russian oil, whether it's about the trade imbalance. Addressing those concerns is important, and that's part of what it means to have a frank dialogue, to address those concerns that you have, and then hopefully have conversations to see those concerns addressed. So the president's been very clear. His concerns about what he has seen from India speak for themselves. He's truthed multiple times about it. But ultimately, this is about a frank and full dialogue, and that's what it means to advance American interests. That's what it means to really have full diplomatic dialogue with partners to address concerns that we need to see addressed.
The back of the room.
Yes.
Thanks, Tommy. Earlier today, President Truth, and this is how we call it, right? Truth, that he was hoping that all Arab nations would join the Abraham Accords. Do you have concern that Israel's decision to take over Gaza completely will, if not delay, really kind of jeopardize the ability to move forward with the Abraham Accords?
Well, I'm not going to predict the future or speak for the opinions of other governments. What I can say is that President Trump is a deal maker. President Trump wants to see peace and constructive dialogue. He knows how to make a deal. He knows how to bring people to the table. That has been evident both in the previous administration when we saw the beginning of the Abraham Accords and now the Abraham Accords then being something that many people thought would not have been possible, and yet he still was able to accomplish that with many different nations joining the Abraham Accords. So I think what's clear is that the president can accomplish what many people think is not possible. I'm not going to predict the future or speculate on how others may view certain actions, but the president remains committed on this. He's made that clear. Yes.
Hi, Tommy. Thank you. In his interview yesterday, Secretary Rubio made it clear that of Russia and Ukraine, the U.S. would have to bring them close enough in order for a meeting involving President Trump to be worthwhile and productive. As of right now, are they close enough?
Well, I'm not going to get ahead of what the White House may announce here. I mean, ultimately, the Secretary laid out saying that that was one of the things that they were discussing here when we're looking towards a potential meeting or other sort of engagement. So I will leave that to the White House or the President to decide when that happens and take his lead here. And it is a credit to his leadership that we've seen the engagement we have seen, the parties come to the table when they have come to the table, and the further engagement to try to pursue peace here.
Assuming they are not close enough and there is no ceasefire in place by tomorrow, which was the previously stated deadline in order to forestall sanctions by the U.S., are sanctions going to be imposed tomorrow, either secondary or any other sort?
A lot of speculation involved there. I'm not going to speculate from here.
I mean, it was a pretty hard deadline by the president, and administration officials had indicated they were expected to be put in place.
Well, as you said, assuming, that's kind of where I draw the line in terms of speculation.
Yeah.
I'll refer to the White House to speak more to the president and defer to the president. I want to get ahead of him, but not going to speculate from here.
One last finer point question. Secretary also in this interview indicated that Special Envoy Witkoff heard from the Russians about what they were asking for in order to bring an end to the war. Did they put any concessions on the table?
Well, as the Secretary described in his interview yesterday, we saw conditions, which is the first time, as he described, that we have seen some of these conditions that would be needed to see an end to this war. I'll leave it to him to characterize what we saw from the Russians and conditions.